Hello everyone, and welcome to my Iconic Goodbyes channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Sharon rushes to save Phyllis's life. At the athletic club, Nate questioned Audra about the glance he saw between her and Holden before Holden left. Holden had told Audra that he needed a friend in town and that he wanted it to be her. Audra stated she wasn't happy about it and had only agreed to attend lunch with Holden to learn more about Nate's sibling. Nate informed Audra that he trusted her, but he also understood how difficult it was to be entirely honest about an old flame. Audra was going to explain what she had uncovered about Damien, but Nate suggested that they return to his apartment first. She wondered if Amy would be present. Nate informed Amy that she would not be returning from her appointment in Chicago for a while, and he inquired as to whether there was anything Audra did not want Amy to hear. Nate and Audra retreated to his apartment, where she discovered Amy's scarf. Audra hoped Amy wasn't too cold, and Nate found it endearing that she was concerned. Nate explained that Amy had not anticipated Dr. Kelly to whisk her away for tests so quickly, but there was no time to waste. Nate wanted to know what Audra had learned about Damien. Audra said that Damien and Holden had been great friends, but their relationship had deteriorated after Damien recruited Holden and gained complete power. Holden seemed to dislike Damien for treating him as an employee first and then a buddy. She noted that Holden had stated Damien had a temper, and it appeared that Holden had been on the receiving end more than once. Nate questioned whether Holden had been aware that Audra was attempting to obtain information about Damien. Nate warned that he didn't want the attention on his brother, and he revealed that Lily had also been doing some investigation. Nate informed that Lily had discovered Damien did not own Dangler or Monte Cristo. Nate was concerned that too many people would ask too many questions, jeopardizing his efforts to reconnect Amy and Damien. Audra clucked that Nate was too emotionally invested to be objective, and he appeared willing to give his brother the benefit of doubt. Nate stated that he wasn't quite prepared to trust Damien, but he wanted to. Audra told Nate to trust his instincts but exercise caution. She preferred that they learn everything they could about Damien before letting him into their lives. Nate mentioned the optimism Damien had provided Amy, who would never have contemplated therapy if she hadn't seen a way to reconcile with her son. Audra stated that all she desired was a nice, healthy ending for Amy and Damien, but she did not want Damien to hurt or disappoint Amy or Nate. Nate was aware that they might all get burnt, but a part of him wanted to believe they could trust Damien and form a real family. Audra vowed to be discreet while persuading Holden to open up about his friendship with Damien. Nate was hesitant, and Audra suspected he was jealous. Nate chuckled, but Audra teased that it wasn't that bad if he was a touch green-eyed because it showed how important their connection was to him. Nate hoped he didn't have to be jealous for her to realize this, and they kissed. Audra recommended they continue their debate over pizza. She took out her phone to place the order and discovered a text message from Holden, who stated that he still needed a companion. Audra showed Nate the message and offered to take his lead on how to respond. "You've got one," Nate replied. An apologetic Nick went at Billy's house unannounced. Nick mentioned that there had been no news on Sharon or Phyllis, and he wondered if Billy had a list of associates that Phyllis might have met. Billy explained that he had previously called everyone he knew, but no one had heard back. Nick lamented that his greatest fears were being confirmed, something was wrong. Billy handed Nick a beer, but he declined because he needed to meet with Chance. Billy recommended that he and Nick work together to locate something they had missed. Nick considered the idea that the women were kidnapped. Billy asked Nick whether he was certain Ian was dead. Nick acknowledged that he had walked by Ian's body and even called the morgue to make sure he was cremated. Billy assumed Sharon and Phyllis were together since they had both contacted one person from a burner phone to explain their absence at the same time, but he didn't see them leaving freely together. Nick indicated that Chance was looking into the kidnapping case, but he complained that the wait was killing him. Billy understood how difficult it must have been for Nick's family after the trauma they had just experienced. Nick admitted that it was taking its toll on him. Billy encouraged Nick to discuss it. Nick admitted that it was difficult not to believe that Phyllis and Sharon's abduction was partly his fault. Billy argued it wasn't true, but Nick said there were times when he doubted he'd make it through. Billy identified as a single father and praised Nick for being a rock for everyone. Billy encouraged Nick to be patient with himself. Billy intended to assist Nick in finding the women, and Nick agreed that he would appreciate some assistance. Given their past, the men felt it amusing that they were forming an alliance. Billy offered to listen if Nick needed to talk again, but they both decided they hadn't had a bonding experience. Nick received a call from ranch security informing him that no evidence had been uncovered on camera footage. Nick set out to check on his family. "Damn it, where are you?" Billy grumbled to himself. In the abandoned psychiatric facility, Phyllis worked out as Sharon sat at a desk, taking notes. Phyllis assumed Sharon was creating a bucket list, and she bet it included expressing her love for her children. Phyllis agreed that the same item would be on her own list, and Sharon murmured that it made sense because Phyllis had missed out on those times with Daniel and Summer when she pretended to die. Phyllis chastised Sharon for going there when they were having a wonderful time. Phyllis believed Sharon's bucket list included something self-sacrificing, such as donating all of her money to charity while she was still alive, so that everyone could admire her wonderful generosity. Sharon imagined Phyllis doing something selfish that would ensure all eyes were on her. Phyllis believed the final thing on Sharon's list was simple: to be saved by Nick. Sharon challenged Phyllis to claim she didn't want Nick to burst through the door and save them. Phyllis encouraged Sharon to exercise with her rather than waste time. Sharon highlighted that everything depended on how successfully they solved the puzzles. Phyllis complained that they had solved 2 riddles and had received nothing, and she suspected that the game's objective was only to amuse their captor. Sharon lamented that her attempts to solve the newest conundrum had failed. Phyllis remarked flippantly that she had figured it out on her 4th jumping jack, but refused to provide the solution. Phyllis reasoned that she and Sharon might be playing against each other, and that if she answered correctly, she might be able to go home. Phyllis promised that she would send someone back for Sharon later. Sharon argued that the game could also be about them working together, and she insisted that Phyllis quit being like a mean girl when their lives were at stake. Phyllis stated that the answer was forgiveness. Sharon amazed at how forgiveness was free but priceless. Phyllis yelled that it would never happen after what Sharon had done to her family. Sharon pointed out that she would also have to forgive Phyllis, but Phyllis dismissed her own crimes as ancient history. Sharon explained that the music and the first 2 riddles were references to previous arguments, and she suspected the person responsible for their abduction was interested in them making amends. Phyllis declared that she'd sooner die and have mice nibble on her decomposing body than express or imply that she'd forgiven Sharon. Sharon proceeded to look for signs as to who was behind the kidnapping, observing that the mystery and performance elements suggested it was someone who wanted to demonstrate how well they knew the women. Phyllis assumed the purpose was to torture them, and she yelled across the megaphone that the strategy was working. Sharon scolded that at least she was attempting to find a way out of there rather than doing jumping jacks and concealing information. Phyllis encouraged Sharon to exercise to be physically and mentally strong, as they would be together for the rest of their lives if they were to forgive each other. Sharon mentioned that it might be their only route out of there. Phyllis imagined she could lie and say she'd forgiven Sharon, but the freak would detect her deception. Phyllis abruptly bent over in anguish, moaning of nausea. Sharon helped Phyllis onto the couch. Sharon announced that they needed assistance because Phyllis was ill, and Phyllis saw that Sharon sounded concerned. Sharon put it up to basic human decency. The alarm rang, and the distorted voice said, "Then you better start looking for the antidote." Sharon argued that she had no idea what she was looking for. The captor ominously hinted that Phyllis was dying because she refused to move through the game's stages as planned. Sharon hastily searched the room. Phyllis grasped her tummy, complaining that the discomfort was worsening. Sharon asked for a clue or riddle to help her get started, pointing out that if Phyllis died, the game was finished. The alarm rang again. "I am the beginning and the end, even though you can't see me," the voice stated. Phyllis whimpered, saying she was sorry for what she had said to Sharon, and added that her stomach felt on fire. Sharon concluded the answer to the riddle was water, and she discovered one bottle in the pack with a sticker on it. Sharon realized that the water had made Phyllis sick in the beginning, and that it would also relieve the discomfort. Sharon urged Phyllis to drink it. The young and the restless Phyllis expresses her views, stating that she will never make amends with Sharon. On The Young and the Restless, the story of Sharon and Phyllis being imprisoned together continues, with Phyllis stating that she would never make apologies to Sharon. Sharon and Phyllis have been kidnapped by an unknown perpetrator. The women are in a locked room in an abandoned psychiatric hospital, being monitored by CCTV cameras and addressed by the voice. The voice is significantly distorted by a voice changer and may literally be anyone. Fan theories on who this is will be explored in a separate article. Some argue that the games the voice forces Sharon and Phyllis to play in order to survive are designed to help them make apologies, but Phyllis has made it apparent that she will never make reparations to Sharon. Fans and viewers have visited the Soap Central website, and they are discussing it on the message board. The young and the restless Phyllis expresses her feelings. Wynder 25 years wrote, Phyllis says I would rather be dead with rats eating my decaying corpse than ever make amends with Sharon and mean it, so this repulsive comment from someone you're trapped with is about as refreshing as having to smell a sweaty Phyllis doing a workout and not being able to clean herself up. Where has any food been over the last week for these two? The same fan had a lot to say, adding, didn't we have a Phyllis and Sharon trapped together years ago where they had to help each other to survive, similar to Nick and Adam after that tornado or the underground fire trap scenes? Perky7KC said, does Phyllis realize the person can hear them? So foolish. Phyllis acts like she's enjoyed such a fantastic life, reader Perky7KC wrote. Saint_1_Tobe said, Sharon is trying to be constructive, and Phyllis is behaving maniacally. Sharon might be able to think if Phyllis just stopped talking. Phyllis drives everyone insane. I get why the writers keep her, but she's just nasty. Sweet7 commented, how come whatever the captor gave Phyllis kicked in just after she promised to die rather than forgive Sharon? As the storyline progresses, Sharon and Phyllis may have to reconcile, or it may be a one or the other scenario in which only one of them will be able to escape the locked room alive. Will Chance and Nick defy the odds and find something that leads them to where Sharon and Phyllis are, or who has taken them? Would you, if you were Phyllis, reconcile with Sharon? Or has there been? The Young and the Restless spoilers, Damien calls out a threat, and Holden can't help himself. The Young and the Restless spoilers document that Damien Kane is very private. He also has a fierce temper, as his friend and now employee, Holden Novak, told Audra Charles. Damien couldn't believe what he saw. Holden was chatting up Audra. Rivers was angered that Owen's character was becoming involved with an ex-girlfriend. Audra told her current boyfriend, Nate Hastings, that Holden was an acquaintance. Nate initially accepted that answer but was leery. Dining at the Genoa City Athletic Club, Nate's lunch with his brother couldn't have gone better. Nate hoped this would come true as Damien opened up to his mother, Amy Lewis. Damien was pleased to hear that the breakthrough he and Amy had influenced her decision to accept Nate's help. He connected Amy with an oncologist, and that meeting went well. The subsequent trip Amy took with the doctor to Chicago, Illinois, will hopefully lead to real progress. Amy now wants as much extra time as she can have with her son. Their reconciliation could help heal her and provide Damien with needed solace. Holden Novak isn't over Audra Charles. The subject header isn't news. But what's intriguing is that Audra might not be over him. Why else agree to another lunch when he returns from Los Angeles, California? It's fair to believe that Audra thinks she can manage Holden. Yet, that seems hard to imagine because he's clearly never gotten her out of his system. Nate's recognition of the lingering chemistry between Audra and Holden spells trouble on multiple fronts. Damien is working to try and stop this problem from growing by sending his employee back to LA. Meanwhile, viewers likely feel they haven't seen the last of Holden. A triangle exists or could form between Nate, Audra, and Holden. But that could lead to the end of Holden's employment with Damien. However, Holden's inability to restrain himself when Audra is concerned implies that he will choose a chance to be with her again versus maintaining his job with Damien. If so, viewers can speculate about the potential employment opportunities Holden might have among those who want to use him as an information source. Amy Lewis is a good soul. Amy made a mistake by becoming involved with Nathan Hastings. She could never bring herself to tell her late husband or Damien the truth. So, Damien grew up believing that the man who was his mother's husband was naturally his father. He also mistakenly concluded that she shut down when his father was dying. Pettiford is a solid actor. The character she portrays adds richness to this part of the storyline. Here's hoping that Nate's medical referral proves fruitful because there's plenty of plot space for Amy to play in Genoa City, Wisconsin. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Holden pursues Claire, Summer defeats Claire, and Sharon saves Phyllis's life. Phyllis Summers and Sharon Newman, plus see how Summer Newman's gamble pays off. Here's what to know to be in the know about your favorite characters YNR fans. Phyllis and Sharon locked up still back at the insane asylum, the captor continues to goad Phyllis and Sharon to trust each other and work together to get out of their situation. Phyllis is not well and there are clues that lead Sharon to believe that a certain bottle of water contains the antidote for whatever it is making Phyllis sick. Then again, why should they trust someone who has possibly poisoned one of them? Phyllis is afraid of the water, but in the end drinks it upon Sharon's urging. Phyllis and Sharon must work together. Will Phyllis begin to feel better? Definitely maybe. If this goes the way the captor wants it to, Phyllis begins to see Sharon in a new light. What's next with these two? Explosive show spoilers tease that the ladies continue to confab about what they are doing there and how to get out alive. Elsewhere, Summer plots to ruin Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman's date night. Claire and Kyle were about to enjoy a nice night out, but Summer is determined to thwart their plans. Claire wasn't born yesterday, however, and has pulled some ugly schemes in her time. Chances are she sees exactly what meddling Summer is up to, but what can she do about it? Claire can't do much as Summer successfully interferes with Claire's date, causing friction for the couple. Holden makes a move. Meanwhile, Holden Novak uses Claire's misery to his advantage. He spies her drinking alone at GCAC and horns his way in. Nicely, of course. Holden turns on the charm and starts a convo with Claire. She is surprised but doesn't tell him to take a hike. The show may be beginning the first of many chem tests for Holden. We know he has secrets and a simmering tension with his shady boss Damian Kane. Tell us YNR fans, who do you think would make a good partner for Holden? Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.